I am Jack Hedginello of SaphCo Woodworking, and I am the founder and CEO of SaphCo Woodworking. I make a variety of things. Mostly my products are for sale, but I do make a lot of things as gifts for my parents or for my family members. And I do have some things that I've made for myself. I have some desks that I've made for my studios upstairs. I have cutting boards for our kitchen. I have furniture for around the house to kind of store things and make things look nice around our house. I have a bunch of stuff around here. I think my favorite part would be actually putting together the piece, like physically putting together the piece that I'm making. So like building it, cutting down the pieces, the sides, gluing them all together. Just because I really like seeing things that I've designed come together, like the way that I've designed it. Making coasters and cutting boards they're sort of similar because a coaster is almost like a miniature version of a cutting board. So the first thing you need to do is to go find materials at any lumber yard or store that sells lumber materials or just wood. So first you just pick out the correct lumber you want to use. Mainly for coasters and cutting boards, you need to pick a harder wood, because it's in contact with a lot of moisture sometimes. So you want something that has some really strong grains, so the moisture can't really screw it up. Next thing, you need to measure out very specific lengths that you want to use depending on the size of the cutting board that you're going to make. You're going to use the table saw to rip very specific lengths of wood to very specific widths. So when we get them together in the end, they'll be the perfect width for a cutting board or a coaster. So for cutting boards, I typically like to make them about a foot wide. So I'd rip probably 3 boards to 4 inches wide, and then I'd glue them all together. For coasters, it's kind of different because a lot of them I like having very different designs for them. So it's kind of it's just very different, the process for glue ups for coasters. After you get them all glued, you gotta sand them really, really flat and really smooth. And that takes quite a while. Sanding is one of the worst parts of woodworking. It takes so long and it's so dusty and so gross. So after sanding, you can either do edge touch-ups if you feel like it, to make the corners of the board look a little bit nicer, or you can just leave it the way it is and move on to finishing. So for cutting boards and coasters, I use just wood block or food-safe oils, because they're going to be coming into contact with things that people will eat or drink. And after finishing, it's basically all finished. In my experience, I more prefer finishing a project. Starting is fun because you're getting all the materials ready and you're just excited to start a project. But finishing is when everything's come together. You see your hard work has finally paid off. You see what you've designed in your head or on a computer, and it's now sitting in front of you. It's just a good feeling. In my shop, I use mainly power tools, only some hand tools. Mostly I use my table saw, and my table saw I use to rip pieces of wood to various widths, which is its main purpose. I use my miter saw to cut miters, which is basically angles in the wood, or cut pieces to smaller lengths instead of widths. My router table I use to give edge profiles, like a beveled edge or a rounded edge, to kind of make things a little more unique and just, different. I have a bandsaw. I don't use my bandsaw too much. That's very, it's for cutting round corners or circles. Well, not circles, but it's for cutting very particular ways. If you're cutting a weird triangle that you wouldn't be able to cut on other saws, that's what you would use it for. If you have a business idea, and you find a way, or you can find a way to make money from it and enjoy yourself doing the job, I'd say go for it. Don't think that it's impossible or if it's out of your reach, because it's a business. A business can be basically whatever you want. It can be whatever idea you have, as long as it's financially viable, and do it before it's too late to do it. That's what I would say.